I've always written to survive. Not for school, not for grades, not for followers. Just for me. Ever since I was 12, I've kept a journal. Scribbled thoughts in cheap notebooks and lined journals I'd hide under my bed or tuck into my backpack like a secret weapon. Some girls whispered crushes in sleepovers. I whispered mine onto paper, afraid to speak them out loud. Now I'm 17, and still, writing is the only place I feel safe. It's not glamorous. My current journal is just a beat-up purple hardcover, the corner bent from where my little brother stepped on it, and the edges smudged with ink and old snack dust. But inside, inside, it holds everything. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every moment I felt invisible, or too much. I write about the things I can't say out loud, how it feels when my mom ignores my questions, when the boy I like flirts with my best friend, when the girls at school smile to my face and snicker as I walk away. I write about how lonely it is to feel everything so deeply in a world that wants you to be quiet, normal, simple. I'm not any of those things, which is exactly why they made fun of me. It started with a whisper. Someone in the back of English class, "Did you see her notebook? So dramatic." And I froze, because only one person had ever seen even a piece of it. Jessica, my so-called best friend. I let her read a poem once, just once. I thought it was safe. It wasn't. By lunch, 3 girls were quoting lines I'd written badly, mockingly, like some twisted theater performance. I ache in silence, swallowed by shadows. One said, placing a hand dramatically to her chest, then doubling over in laughter. That was my line, my pain. And they just laughed. I couldn't breathe, couldn't eat. I sat at the end of the table, plastic tray untouched, my stomach twisting. Jessica acted like she didn't hear it, like she wasn't part of it. But I saw her smirk, that tiny, sharp smirk she always hides behind fake sympathy. I went home early that day and cried into my pillow, the purple journal pressed tight against my chest like it might defend me, like it might punch back for me. But journals don't punch, they hold, and sometimes they hold more than they should. For days, I stopped writing. I'd pick up the pen and just freeze, like my words had betrayed me, like I wasn't even safe with myself anymore. And the worst part, they didn't stop. 2 boys in math class started calling me Poet Girl. At first, I thought maybe it wasn't so bad, until I heard the tone, mocking, like a punchline. I stopped answering questions in class, stopped raising my hand. Then came the assembly, student showcase. They called it talent, creativity, courage, all that glossy brochure stuff. I watched as people signed up. Singers, dancers, comedians. Jessica even put her name down for a comedy skit. Of course, she always liked the spotlight. But not me, never me. I had nothing to share, or so I thought. It was Ms. Luna, my English teacher, who stopped me in the hallway. She's the kind who sees things, like really sees things. One of those rare adults who actually listens without making you feel small. "Eva," she said gently, "you write, don't you?" My heart pounded. Not really," her eyebrow raised. "You turned in a journal entry last semester that made me cry. Remember?" I remembered. I regretted turning it in. I thought I'd overshared. Been too honest. "You should consider reading something at the show, Jake." I laughed out loud. "No way," but she just smiled. "Think about it. Real courage isn't loud. Sometimes it's written in ink." I thought about that line for days. At night, I'd lie awake with the journal beside me, unopened. Then one night, I flipped to the middle and read a random entry from 2 months ago. I feel like if I disappeared tomorrow, the world would keep turning. No one would even notice the gap. I read it again, and something in me cracked. No more hiding. No more shame. They already turned my pain into jokes. What else could they take? If I read it aloud, I controlled the story. I set the tone. Not Jessica. Not the girls who laughed. Not the boys who called me names. Me. So I signed up. Name, Eva Martin. Talent, spoken word. As soon as I submitted it, My stomach dropped. The what ifs came flooding in. What if they laugh again? What if I choke? What if I look like a fool? But under the fear, something stronger started to stir. Rage, maybe. Or truth. Or something bigger than both. I had a voice, and they were going to hear it. Even if it shook. Even if I cried. Even if they didn't clap. I told no one. Not even my parents. Not Jessica. I wanted the moment to be mine. The night before the showcase, I sat on my bedroom floor, journal in my lap, picking the entry I would read. I chose one about being overlooked, about the way people pretend you don't exist until you become convenient or entertaining, about the way being a teenage girl with feelings is somehow laughable. I practiced in the mirror. I cried halfway through, but then I said it again, stronger, and again, until I believed myself, until I felt the truth rise up from the pages like smoke, painful, thick, but impossible to ignore. That night, I slept with the journal beside me, hand resting on the cover like a lifeline. Tomorrow, I'd walk into that auditorium, not just as poet girl, but as Eva Martin, the girl who turned their mockery into a microphone. And I'd see if the world finally listened. The auditorium is buzzing with chatter. Rows of plastic chairs filled with students, teachers, and a few parents create a soft wall of noise that rises and falls like waves. On stage, someone's doing a piano cover of Billie Eilish. A group of cheerleaders cheers politely from the third row. Laughter echoes as a boy in a sparkly gold jacket finishes a magic trick involving rubber ducks. And I'm backstage, clutching my journal. I'm 17, in black jeans and a dark burgundy blouse, plain but clean, just enough to feel like me. My curls are tied back in a half ponytail, my palms sweaty even though the room is chilly. I'm sitting on a folding chair against the wall, knees bouncing, trying to breathe evenly. The list is posted beside the door. 4 acts down. I'm number 8. That gives me maybe 20 minutes before they call my name. I read over my piece again, the pages worn from so many rereads. I almost have it memorized, but I need the journal in my hands. It's not just a prop, it's armor, history, a witness. I hear a voice. She's actually doing something. It's Jessica. She's talking to another girl in the dressing area. Their whispers slice through me. Probably another one of her sad girl rants. She's obsessed with writing about herself. Yeah, like anyone cared. They laugh. I grip the journal tighter. My nails press into the cover. But I don't cry. Not this time. Instead, I stand up, slowly, and move farther from them. They fade behind me. Their noise, their opinions, not mine to carry. I repeat that like a mantra, in my head. Not mine to carry, not mine to carry. Another act finishes. Applause. Then, the host's voice on the mic. Next up, we have Eva Martin, performing an original spoken word piece. I walk. I don't float. I don't fly. I walk. Heavy, grounded, like every footstep is me stepping into something I've been afraid of for years. The lights are bright. Too bright. I squint for a second, then find the mic. It's standing center stage, waiting. I don't look out into the audience yet. I keep my eyes on the journal as I step up and position the mic. It's adjusted too low. I fix it, breathing through my nose slowly. Then I look up. Hundreds of eyes. Some curious, some bored, some amused. I find Ms. Luna in the back row. She nods once, hands folded over her clipboard, calm and sure. That helps. I swallow. Then I speak. My name is Eva Martin, and this is called The Girl You Laughed At. A beat, then I begin. They say I'm too sensitive, too much, too dramatic, too poetic. Like that's an insult. Like feeling is something to be ashamed of. Like the ache in my chest isn't real if you laugh loud enough to cover it. My voice shakes a little, but I keep going. I wrote in secret because the world didn't want my truth. They wanted small, quiet, smiling when I didn't feel like smiling. I flipped the page. Silence. You could hear a pin drop. I wrote about loneliness, and love and being the girl who fades into the back row until someone needs a laugh, and suddenly I'm center stage, but not like this. Someone gasps. Not loud, but audible. You read my journal and called it comedy. You turned my pain into punchlines? But guess what? I'm still here. I'm still writing. And now, you're the ones listening. My hands don't shake anymore. I close the journal, gently. I let the words hang in the air. I exhale. Silence. And then, applause. At first it's hesitant. A few claps. Then more. Then louder. Then standing. People are on their feet. Not everyone. But enough. Enough to see it. To feel it. My hands fall to my sides. My heart races. I feel light and heavy all at once. Someone shouts, "Yes, EVA," from the back. I think it might be Maya from history class. I don't cry, but I want to. Not from sadness. From release. From the deep, aching, soaring feeling of being seen. I walk off stage with my head held high. Backstage, the noise rushes back in. Someone high-fives me. A freshman girl tells me I was brave. Ms. Luna squeezes my shoulder. Jessica stares at me from across the room, mouth slightly open, arms folded. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't have to. She knows. Everyone knows. My words aren't a joke. My journal isn't shameful. It's power. Raw, aching, honest power. And I'm just getting started. The morning after the showcase, everything feels different. The sun filters through my bedroom curtains like any other day, but it's warmer somehow. Softer, brighter. I lie there under my blanket, still clutching the journal I slept with like a lifeline. And for the first time in a long time, I feel proud. No, unapologetic. I check my phone and nearly drop it. 32 messages. Some are from classmates I barely know. Your poem gave me chills. Thank you for saying what I never could. I felt that invisible too. My hands shake as I scroll. One message stands out. Maya, from history class. I've been scared to tell people I write to. Thank you for being brave first. I reread it 3 times. Then I cry. Not because I'm sad, but because it finally hit me. All that pain I scribbled onto pages, all that loneliness I thought would swallow me whole. It meant something to someone, and that's all I ever wanted. At school, people look at me differently. It's subtle, but it's there. Heads nod when I pass. A few people smile with that quiet, respectful kind of smile. Not mocking, not fake, just real. Even the teachers seem warmer. Miss Feldman actually asked if I'd consider submitting something for the school's lit magazine. I've never seen him look at me without squinting before. But Jessica? She's quiet. Not cold, not rude, just quiet. She doesn't sit with me at lunch that Monday, just glances at me from across the cafeteria, then turns back to her group. I'm not surprised. I guess it's easier to laugh at someone than sit beside them once they start shining. Still, it hurts. Somewhere deep. Not as much as it used to, but enough to sting. Later that week, I'm walking through the library when I hear someone call my name. It's a senior, Samira. She's editor of the Lit magazine and runs the open mic club I've never dared to attend. Eva, right? I nod, heart thudding. You were incredible at the showcase. Thanks, I mumble, feeling my face flush. I was wondering, would you be willing to read something at our next open mic? Open mic? An actual reading event, not some school talent show where people are half paying attention between snack breaks. This would be serious, vulnerable, terrifying. Yes, I say before I can stop myself. Her face lights up. Awesome. I'll DM you the info. She walks away. I stand there for a full minute, trying to catch my breath. Did I really just say yes? The following week, I start going back through my journals, not to cry, not to feel sorry for myself, but to find the pieces that could become more. I tear out some entries, start revising. I realize that some of them are raw but powerful, even poetic. like seeds that just need a little light. And slowly something takes shape. A new piece, a bigger one. A story about growing up, being told you're too much. About shrinking yourself to survive. About learning, finally, that the things people call too much are actually your gifts. I name it Louder Than You Thought. Because that's what I've become, and I'm not shrinking back again. Open mic night arrives fast. It's in the small community art center near downtown. Dim lights, fold-out chairs, a tiny stage surrounded by string lights, and a single microphone. I wear my favorite green jacket and ripped jeans. Not trying to impress anyone, just trying to feel like myself. My curls are loose, bouncing gently around my shoulders. As I walk in, clutching my purple journal, there are maybe 30 people, small crowd, but attentive. Mostly teens and young adults, all here to share or listen. The nerves creep in as names are called. One girl shares a piece about her eating disorder. A boy talks about losing his father. Someone else reads a love letter to their younger self. Raw, real, human. Then it's my turn. Next up, Eva Martin. I walk to the mic. Deep breath. I don't shake this time. I speak. They called me loud. Not my voice, my thoughts, my pages, my truth. As I read, something wild happens. People nod, snap, cry. Someone at the back stands up early and keeps clapping through the last stanza. When I finish, it's not a roar of applause. It's something better. It's deep, it's emotional, it's real. A standing ovation again. But this time, not from peers forced to attend an assembly. These are people who get it. People like me. Afterward, a girl hugs me and whispers, "I haven't written in years. You made me want to start again." I don't say anything. I just nod, tears welling, because that's it. That's why I do this. Not for revenge, not even for closure, but to crack something open in someone else, the way writing cracked something open in me. When I get home that night, I sit on my bed and look at my journal. The one they laughed at, the one I almost threw away, the one that saved me, and I whisper, "Thank you," because it never gave up on me, even when I gave up on myself. And now, it's just the beginning. You know how sometimes life doesn't explode into change, it ripples? That's what happens after open mic night. It's not like I'm suddenly famous or popular or immune to the sting of people's stares in the hallway, but something shifts, something settles. Like a tiny fire has been lit inside me, and it's warming parts I didn't know were frozen. The Monday after the event, my English teacher, Luna, pulls me aside. "Eva, can I talk to you for a second?" I nod, clutching my backpack strap, heart thudding like it always does when someone uses that tone. "I read the transcript of your piece," she says. "One of the other teachers sent it to me, and I have to say, what you're doing, it's brave, and it's necessary." I blink at her, stunned. "You ever thought about submitting your writing to the Phoenix?" she continues, referring to our school's yearly literary anthology. "Deadline's in 2 weeks. You could reach a lot more people." I swallow the lump rising in my throat. I, I don't know. I'm not really the kind of person they usually pick. Maybe they've just never seen your kind before," she says, smiling. "Change that." I nod slowly. "Maybe I will." That night, I open my journal and reread every entry I've marked with sticky tabs. Some are angry, some are sad, some are hopeful. All are me. I begin editing one of the most painful ones, the day Jessica and the others passed my notebook around, and read it out loud, giggling while I pretended I wasn't dying inside. It still hurts. But now, I don't write it with shame. I write it with clarity. I write it with power. I retitle the piece, "Words You Can't Erase," and I submit it. 3 days later, I get a response. Accepted. They want to print it. A week after that, I get another message. From Samira, the open mic club editor. "Eva, would you want to perform at the Youth Spoken Word Festival next month? We're recommending poets. There'll be press and local writers attending." I stare at the message. Me? At a real festival? I tell her yes before I even process what I'm doing. My heart races for an hour, but deep down I know I'm ready. I've spent years writing in the dark. Maybe now's the time I let the world hear me in the light. The following days become a whirlwind. Rehearsals, rewrites, practicing tone and pace in front of my mirror. I even start taking voice memos of myself, reading so I can listen back and refine it. I never thought I'd care about my cadence or whether I pause for breath after a line, but I do now, because every word matters. Every word. On the night of the festival, I walk into the venue, a small but packed black box theater downtown, and feel the nerves tighten in my stomach. The crowd is real, like real, older people. Teen poets, organizers, a couple cameras on tripods, and among the names printed on the program, mine, Eva Martin, words you can't erase. When it's my turn, I take the stage. Not with fear, with intention. I hold my journal in one hand, but I don't need to look at it. The words are already etched into me. I take the mic, and I speak. They laughed at me before they even knew what I was trying to say. My voice doesn't waver this time. They called me a joke, and still expected me to smile at the punchline. I see a woman in the front row wipe her eye. But here I am, still writing, still standing, and every word I bleed is another brick I build beneath me. The applause comes like a wave. Not immediate, but rising, strong, honest. And once again, I see people stand. And once again, I don't cry, because I already did my crying. Now I feel. I own. I belong. After the performance, a woman approaches me, maybe late 30s in a denim jacket and black boots. I'm a youth counselor, she says. We work with girls in crisis housing. Would you ever consider coming to one of our writing nights? Just sharing your voice? I blink at her. Me. Teaching someone else? But she's serious. And something inside me, the part that once believed I was invisible, begins to say yes before I do. I exchange info with her. As I walk out into the cool night air, my phone buzzes again. This time, it's a DM from someone unexpected. Jessica. Hey, just wanted to say congrats. I saw the clips. You're really good. I mean that. I stare at it. No apology. No explanation. But maybe that's okay, because I don't need her validation anymore. Her approval is a seat I don't want at a table I built myself. I don't reply. I close my phone, and I walk home, under the stars with my head up and my heart loud. Success doesn't always feel how you imagine. It's not glitter or fireworks or cameras chasing you down a red carpet. Sometimes it's standing in front of a small group of girls in a circle of folding chairs and realizing they're listening. I'm at the youth center, the one the counselor invited me to after the festival. It smells faintly of lavender and old coffee. The walls are covered in poems written on sticky notes, construction paper, even the occasional napkin. The energy in the room is cautious, raw. Like everyone here is holding something heavy. There are 6 girls, aged 14 to 8. A few are bouncing their knees, others are drawing quietly while I talk. I'm nervous. My throat's dry, my journal is open in my lap, but I can't read from it yet, so I just start talking. I used to think my feelings were too much for people. Too big, too loud, too messy. A few girls glance up. I was told that being emotional made me annoying, that writing everything down made me dramatic, that no one would ever care what I had to say. Now they're all looking at me. So, I wrote anyway. One girl, Maria, I think, raises her hand shyly. But didn't it hurt to share it? Like, didn't people laugh at you? I nod. Yeah, a lot. Some of them still do. Then why keep doing it? She asks, voice barely above a whisper. I take a deep breath, because writing made me feel real, and one day, someone listened. And that was enough to keep going. Silence. Then another girl, Tasha, pulls a notebook from her bag and flips it open. Can I read you something? And just like that, the room changes. Suddenly, everyone's sharing. Little pieces of themselves, hurts they hadn't said aloud. Stories of betrayal, heartbreak, shame, and survival. And I just sit there, tears brimming, holding space for every word like it's sacred. Because it is. Because they are. That night, I lie in bed and stare at the ceiling, journal clutched to my chest. I've read my words in front of strangers, faced the people who mocked me, spoken to girls who never thought they were allowed to have a voice. But tonight, I feel something new. Purpose. Not just healing, not just survival, but transformation. I flip open the journal and begin writing something new. Not just a poem, but an idea. A program. What if I created something for girls like them, like me? A workshop. A safe space. It's a journal-centered program that teaches writing as therapy, as resistance, as self-rescue. I don't know how. I don't have money or a business plan, but I know I have a voice, and maybe that's the start. A few weeks later, I'm pitching my idea nervously to the youth center director. Her name's Clara, and she has kind eyes and salt and pepper braids tied into a bun. I'm shaking, voice cracking, as I explain, I want to start a weekly journaling circle for girls who've been silenced or shamed or just forgotten. I'll bring prompts, lead exercises, give them notebooks. She listens, really listens, and then she smiles. I think that's exactly what this place needs. We launch the program 2 months later. We call it the Loud Pages. 10 girls sign up at first, then 15, then 30. The word spread. I teach them how to write about pain without apology, how to turn grief into poems, how to name the things that hurt and the things they still dare to hope for. Some days, the stories make me cry in my car afterward. But mostly, I feel alive, rooted. Like every page of my old journals led to this moment. One day after a session, as I'm packing up, Clara approaches me. There's a conference in LA for young mental health advocates. They're looking for speakers under 21. I want to nominate you. I blink. Me? You, she says, squeezing my shoulder. You're doing real work, and people should hear about it. I don't say yes right away, because I'm scared again. Not of failing, but of being seen on a bigger level, of standing in front of professionals, therapists, educators, and claiming space. But I think of the girls, of the way they sit up straighter when I read, of the way their pens fly across the page during writing exercises. I think of the 14-year-old version of me who wanted nothing more than to feel heard. And I say, let's do it. In the weeks leading up to the conference, I pour every ounce of myself into my keynote. It's not just a speech, it's a reclamation. I talk about how people laughed at my journal, called me sensitive, dramatic, a burden. I talk about how I almost threw it all away, and then how writing saved my life, and now how I'm using that to help others save their own. When I step onto that stage in LA, I don't bring the fear with me. I bring the pages, the truth, the girl I used to be, and the woman I'm becoming. And I speak. They said my voice was too much, so I turned it into a symphony. They said my feelings made me weak, so I built a fortress out of them. They mocked my journal, so I turned it into a movement. And when the crowd rises to their feet, cheering, crying, clapping, I realize I'm not just healing, I'm leading. You know what's wild? The same people who once rolled their eyes at you start clapping the loudest when the world turns around. That's what's been happening. After the conference in LA, my inbox overflows. Journalists, educators, counselors, even a small publisher wanting to know if I'd ever considered writing a book. Me. The girl they used to call too emotional. The girl whose journal was once passed around like a joke. Now they want to put those words on shelves, and I'm not sure how to feel. Flattered? Excited? Scared? Because success doesn't erase the memories. It doesn't delete the sting of pages stolen or words thrown back at you with a smirk. But what it does is give you choice. And for the first time, I have choices. One evening, I'm leaving the youth center when I hear my name. Eva? I turn. It's Jessica. Same platinum blonde highlights. Same designer hoodie, but she's quieter now. Softer around the edges. She looks nervous. I've been meaning to talk to you, she says. I shift my bag higher on my shoulder. Yeah? I saw your interview on the local channel about your workshops. You're really doing things. There's an awkward pause. I raise an eyebrow. You mean despite what you all said? Despite being the oversensitive loser who wrote too much? She flinches. I deserved that. We stand there for a second, just breathing. Then she says it. I'm sorry. I don't know what I expect to feel. Maybe anger, maybe satisfaction, but mostly, I just feel tired because I'm not 17 anymore. I'm not waiting for her apology. I built something in the silence she left behind, so I nod. Thank you. I hope you've grown. She swallows. I have. And that's that. She walks away, and I walk forward. No bitterness. No need to prove anything. Just peace. Weeks pass. My workshop grows. I start posting short readings of my journal entries online. Nothing fancy, just my voice. Some moody lighting. Raw emotion. They go viral. Teen girls comment things like, "This made me cry in the best way. I didn't know someone else felt like this too. I read your piece to my mom. She finally understood me." And with every video, every like, every DM, I realize something. I've become what I once needed. A voice, a mirror, a flashlight in someone's emotional tunnel. Then, one night, I get a message that knocks the breath out of me. It's from a young girl, maybe 14, who writes, "I was going to hurt myself tonight, but then I found your video. I listened to your poem over and over again, and I didn't go through with it. I'm going to tell someone. Thank you for existing." I drop my phone. I cry for an hour because I know that feeling, that cliff, that aching need for someone, anyone to say, "You matter, you're not crazy, you're allowed to feel." And I think if all of this, the humiliation, the mockery, the tears, if it led me to this one girl, it was worth it. Every second. After that, I decide to take a bigger step. I pitch a full manuscript to the publisher who reached out. It's a memoir, but not in the traditional sense. It's made of pages, of journal entries, of pain and healing, of letters to my younger self, of poems I never thought anyone would read. I call it Too Much and Everything. When the deal goes through, I call my mom. She screams so loud I have to pull the phone away. When the first advance check comes, I don't buy anything flashy. I donate part of it to the youth center, and the rest I print custom journals, dozens of them, and send them to shelters and schools for girls who don't yet know that their words are gold. On the day the book launches, I host a local reading event. It's outdoors, under string lights, with bean bags and tea, and open mic slots. Dozens come, friends, strangers, girls from the center. A teacher who once told me too many feelings don't make a story. Even my dad shows up. The one who never really got me. He stands in the back with a proud, confused look, as if he's still wrapping his head around how the quiet girl with ink-stained fingers became this. And I read, not just from the new book, but from the journal, the original journal, the one they mocked, the one they passed around, the one I almost threw away. I read the exact page that once made me the school's inside joke. And when I finish, the crowd claps, but not like a polite, supportive clap. They stand, they cheer, they cry, and I smile through the tears. Because this is what full circle looks like. This is what it means to turn pain into poetry and poetry into power. Some people ask me now if I ever think about getting revenge, like if I ever wanted to humiliate the ones who laughed at me, expose the names of the bullies in my book, go full justice served on the whole thing. And honestly, no, not anymore. Because what they gave me, the mockery, the whispers, the ripped pages, all of it became fuel. And fuel doesn't get revenge. It rises. I'm 23 now. My second book is coming out in the fall. It's a collection of letters written by girls who've taken my journaling workshops, to themselves, to their pain, to the people who hurt them. It's called Unfold because that's what we do, page by page. we unfold. We stretch out the parts of ourselves that were crumpled by shame, and we smooth them flat with love and truth and ink. Every time I run a new workshop, I bring that same first journal with me, the blue one, the one they passed around and laughed at. It has tape holding the spine together, bent corners, tear stains on page 8, but it's mine, and it's the reason I'm standing in front of crowds now, giving keynotes to rooms full of educators, therapists, artists, and teens. They listen, they nod, some cry. And when I say, your feelings are not too much, your story is not too small, your voice is not a liability, it's a legacy, they believe me, because I believe me. At one of these talks, a girl with pink braids raises her hand. What would you say, she asks, to the version of you who almost stopped writing? I pause. Then I look right into the mic and I say, I'd say thank you for surviving long enough to become someone I'm proud of, for holding the pen when it felt like no one cared what came out, for keeping the words even when the world said they didn't matter. You saved me, and now I get to save others. The room is quiet. You could hear the breath catch in people's throats, and I know, in that moment, that the version of me who once curled up under her blanket, wondering if she was too weird, too sensitive, too much, she's still here. But now, she's holding a mic, and she's heard. There's a quote I read once that stuck with me. What if the thing you were most ashamed of becomes the thing that sets others free? That's what my journal did, not just for me, but for hundreds of girls who now write without fear, girls who post their poems online, girls who say, I'm allowed to be messy, I'm allowed to be loud, I'm allowed to take up space. And every time they do, I feel like we're healing the world one sentence at a time. A few months ago, I got a message request on Instagram. It was from Chloe. Yeah, that Chloe. She wrote, Hey Eva, I know I was awful to you. I don't expect you to forgive me. But I saw your TED Talk and cried the whole time. I'm working on myself. I just wanted you to know that your voice changed something in me. I didn't reply. Not because I hate her, but because I don't need anything from her anymore. Closure isn't always a conversation. Sometimes it's standing in your truth so fully that the past loses its power. I close out the latest season of my podcast. Yes, I started one with a solo episode. It's called When the Pen Was the Only Friend I Had. I talk about the quiet, the fear, the ridicule, and then I talk about the stage, the spotlight, the ovation. They mocked my journal, I say to the mic, voice steady. So I opened it in front of the world. I read every word they said was too much. And in doing so, I found everyone who needed it. Not just readers, not just followers, but family. Because the ones who feel too much, we always find each other. And then I close the episode and the season with a new entry, a fresh one. It's short, it reads, This is not the end, this is the next chapter. Because this story, it never really ends, it just gets louder, and bolder, and more mine, one page at a time.